All right, today we are going to keep reading in Clementine. We're starting on chapter 6, and we will read for a little bit, and we'll see how far we get. All right, chapter 6 starts with this picture. Thursday morning, I woke up with a spectacular full idea. I am lucky that way. Spectacular full ideas are always springing up in my brain. The secret thing I know about ideas is that once they spring into your head, you have to grab them fast, or else they'll get bored and bounce away. So I called Margaret and I told her I had a good surprise for her and we needed to sit in the back seat of the bus. It is unfair that sometimes even spectacular full ideas don't work out. It's also unfair that bus drivers are allowed to send you to the principal's office. It's not my fault, I explained to Principal Rice before she could say any of those Clementine why did yous. Margaret has a very slippery head skin. Miss Rice fell into her chair hard. She clapped her hands over her ears and squeezed like her brains were trying to jump out. Part of me wanted to see something like that, but most of me said, not today, thanks. Margaret's slippery head skin was not the problem, she said. The problem is that you tried to glue your own hair onto Margaret's head. You've been having lots of problems this week. First, you cut off Margaret's hair. Then you colored her head. Yesterday, you cut off your own hair and colored your own head. And today, this, Clementine, what's going on between you and Margaret? How do you spell nitrogen? I asked Miss Rice. Sometimes grown-ups get distracted if you ask them school things. Oh wait, there's a helicopter. All right, but Miss Rice just spelled nitrogen for me and went right back onto the Margaret thing. Are you angry with her? No, I said. Okay, fine, I yelled it. But I didn't know I was going to yell it, and I couldn't stop my yelling voice. Here is how good of a friend I am to Margaret. I'm not even mad at her for last week at my party, even though she breathed on the M&M rocks on the back of the dump truck, which was the best part of my cake. And then she sat on my sparkly glitter paint set, which was my best present, and said it was an accident, but I don't think so. And I think now she's trying to look like me, except for she doesn't get to have she gets to have bracelets and I don't. Oh, said Principal Rice. And then she didn't say anything at all and just looked at me, which is the worst thing of all that can happen to you in the principal's office. I sat there swinging my legs back and forth like crazy for 300 hours, and then I said, "Can I be done here now?" And she said, "Okay, fine." Margaret's mother let her come over for play after school. Does this mean she's all done being mad at me? I asked. No, she just doesn't think there's anything left for you to do to my head. Besides, she says I'm 9 years old and I should be able to protect my own head. Then I told her some good news I had just thought of. I'm 9 years old now, too. No, you're not. You're 8, she said. I came to your birthday last week, which I remembered. No, I explained. I was 8 at my party. 9 comes after 8, and it's after my party. So now I'm 9, and that means that we're the same age. That's ridiculous, yelled Margaret. I'm almost 10. You're almost 8. You're not 9. She tried to flip her hair, which didn't work well without actual hair, and her head got even redder under the scrubbed-off marker. Yes, I am, I told her. I'm in the gifted class for math, so I understand numbers. Then Margaret left and slammed my door. That Margaret. After all I've done for her, helping to fix her stupid hair. I followed her into the lobby and I yelled, "You shouldn't have breathed on my cake and sat on my present, and I don't want you to look at me." But she didn't even turn around. So now I had nobody to play with for the rest of my life. But I didn't care because I was 9. Or maybe I was just after 8. Okay, fine. Being after 8 reminded me that I hadn't checked yet that day to see if I'd started growing a beard. So I ran to the bathroom. While I was there, I accidentally climbed onto the toilet seat to look out the window onto the side alley to see if Margaret was out there. I didn't see her, but I didn't care, especially when I looked in the mirror and saw that I had started growing a nice brown beard on my cheek. "Hey, Bill," I yelled. Bill's my dad's, for other people, name. "Where's your razor?" She's talking to her dad, but her dad's name is Bill, so she's saying that she called him Bill by his first name. Dad came skidding into the bathroom so fast I thought his feet might be on fire. They weren't. I showed him my beard. Dad squinted and sniffed my cheek. "That's not a beard, Clementine," he said. "That's chocolate frosting. As a matter of fact, that smells exactly like the kind of chocolate frosting that your mother put on the cake she made for her book club, which nobody was supposed to touch. Now, isn't that a coincidence?" "Okay, fine." I wiped off the frosting, and underneath was a very mad face. "Clementine," my dad said, "you know girls don't grow beards." "What about the amazing bearded lady at the circus? What about that, huh?" "Clementine, I've told you 100 times, you cannot grow a beard." "So Rutabaga gets to have one like yours someday, down to his knees if he wants, and I don't? That's not fair." Which I have told him 100 times. "First of all, your brother's name isn't Rutabaga," Dad said. "Second of all, well, never mind. Maybe today isn't the time to talk about what's fair." My dad and I looked at my mad mirror face with the green marker top for a long time. "I sure am having a lot of trouble with hair these days," I whispered. "I know, sport," Dad said. Then he hugged me. "Usually this squeezes the mad right out of me, but that time it just mixed up all with feelings of sad and lucky, which was extremely confusing." "Hey," my dad said, "have you got a little time to spare?" I squinty-eyed him. "It depends." "The Great Pigeon War," he said. "It's time for evening maneuvers. I could use someone like you on the front lines tonight, someone with fresh ideas. I'm running a little low on them myself." I said okay, and my dad and I put on our raincoats and went outside. First, he got out the hose, which he calls the heavy artillery. Then he sprayed off the front steps and the sidewalk in front of the lobby doors. Last, he pointed the hose at the pigeons covering the ledges and windows and balconies and roofs of the front of our building. He sprayed them until they all flew away. That's the best part, because when a million pigeons take off at the same time right above you, you can feel their wings beats exploding inside you like fireworks. My dad handed me the hose. "Want to clean the lion?" Which, of course, I did. The carved lion above the front door has really pointy teeth, but I'm not afraid of him because he's using those teeth to protect us. Plus, he's just stone. I sprayed him with the hose until he was all shiny and in the street lights. "You know, Dad," I pointed out, "it's not really the pigeons you're at war with. The pigeons aren't the enemy." "What are you talking about?" he asked. "It's my job to keep the building looking nice, especially the entrance. And you've seen what those pigeons do." "Exactly," I said. "The pigeons are fine. It's their mess you hate." "Well, okay, that's true," my dad said. "I'm actually at war with the pigeon splat. You got any ideas on how to get rid of the pigeon splat without getting rid of the pigeons?" "How about diapers?" I suggested. "We could wait until all the pigeons are asleep and then sneak up and put little diapers on them." "Brilliant," Dad cried. "See, that's what I'm talking about. I can always count on you to see things from a new angle. I'm going to make you a captain." "You made me a captain last week for the idea about charging them rent," I reminded him. "Huh, you can be sergeant then," he promised. "Never mind," I said. "Who would change all those diapers every day? Not me." Dad said. "Excellent point. Back to the drawing board, sport." Then we just sat there together watching the pigeons flock back to our building for the night. We listened to them cooing above us, sounding like a million old ladies with secrets. "What are we going to do?" I asked. I mean, for real. Uh-oh, here we go. Chapter 7. I knew Friday was going to be a bad day right from the beginning because there were clear parts in my eggs. I can't eat eggs if they have clear parts, I reminded my mother. Eat around them, she said. Just eat the yellow parts or the white parts. But I couldn't because the clear parts had touched the yellow parts and the white parts, so all I had was toast. Have you got all your stuff, my dad asked as I was leaving. Of course, I said, right in my backpack. But when I went to show him my homework, 3 sentences about planet Saturn, which I had decorated with a picture of some squirrels I'd seen in the park, it wasn't there. Better to go check the black hole, he said. I gave my dad the "it's not so funny" look, but I went back in my room to check. The black hole is what my dad calls the place under my bed. He says things mysteriously disappear there, but I do not think fathers should be comedians. My homework paper was not under my bed, and the rest of the day got worse. On the bus, Margaret walked right past our usual seat and sat down next to Amanda Lee, even though all Amanda Lee can talk about is going to the mall, which is boring. Plus, anyone with a name as beautiful as Amanda Lee probably made it up. Then, as soon as I got to school, the teacher said, "The following students are excused from recess so they can catch up on their journal writing," and I was one of the following students. 3 times during journal writing, the teacher said, "Clementine, you need to pay attention." And every time he said it, I was paying attention. I was paying attention out the window where the 4th graders were playing pickle in the middle. Whenever the ball came anywhere near Margaret and Amanda Lee, they grabbed each other and shrieked. Okay, sit down with me. They shrieked like they were being murdered, which everyone knows means we're best friends. When my teacher moved my seat away from the window, I was GLAD, glad. I wrote all over my journal, "I don't care," so hard my pencil broke. When I got home from school, I was planning to go straight to my room and draw pictures of me with my new best friend. But my dad was putting on his raincoat, and it was not raining out. "Fighting pigeons is not for the weak-hearted," he said. "It takes superhuman courage and resourcefulness and cleverness." When my dad talks like this, it means he has a new idea. "You have another battle plan?" I said. "Yep," he answered. "It's a doozy, and I'll probably be promoted to general for this one." "You're already the general, remember?" "Oh, right. I'm so modest, sometimes I forget." "Well, I bet I'll get the Medal of Honor." "Dad." "I might even be knighted for this one." "Dad," I said. Sometimes my dad needs to help staying serious. "So what is the new battle plan?" My dad looked around and he thought there might be spies sneaking in on us, and he bent over and whispered in my ear, "Psychological warfare." There's a picture of her journal. It says, "I don't care. This sounded like a good one, so I followed him out and sat on the steps to watch. I could do that drawing later. First, my dad hosed down the sidewalks, then sprayed the pigeons until they flew away. All the time, he was muttering things like, "Oh, they're crafty all right, but I'm craftier." And it's a little known fact that pigeons were the 8th deadly plague to visit Egypt. Then he pulled a brown plastic owl from the bag. He got a ladder and climbed up and put the owl right on top of the lion's head over the lobby door. I asked him what that was for. "The pigeons will take one look at that owl and then they'll head for the hills." Well, another building. "Pigeons are deathly afraid of owls." "Yep, I'll probably be knighted." "It's plastic," I reminded him. "But the pigeons don't know that. That's the brilliance of my plan." I didn't see what was so brilliant. I didn't see how a little plastic owl was going to frighten off a flock of pigeons who fought over who would get to sit on the head of the roaring lion. And while we stood there, Dad admiring his brilliant battle plan and me worrying about it, the pigeons, they came back. They settled on their regular perches all over the front of our building, except for a few who decided to sit on the owl's head. When my dad needed something real, "Polka Dotty, would you go and scare them off?" Dad put the ladder and his raincoat away and came over, and then he sat beside me. "You still miss her, don't you, sport?" I nodded. I miss seeing her when I get home from school. I miss patting her where her fur was so soft under her neck, and I miss hearing her purr when I fall asleep. I even miss the smell of her cat food. It's a lot of missing, my dad said. And she would have scared off those pigeons, wouldn't she? Absolutely. That was one terrifying cat. Dad, she would have been terrifying to pigeons, I said. And then I had one of the most astonishing ideas of my whole career. I jumped up, I gave my dad a kiss right where his beard stops being crunchy, and then I ran back to the apartment, went into my bedroom, reached under the mattress where I kept my favorite picture of Polka. Then I ran to the copy shop around the corner. Can I make this bigger, I asked. How big do you want it? The clerk asked back. I took out my wallet and laid all my birthday money on the counter. How big can you make it for this much? The clerk counted my money and thought for a minute. I can make that cat the size of a German Shepherd for that money. Perfect, I said. Then he took the money and the picture of Polka and told me to come back the next day at 4. I ran home and I let myself into the apartment. My dad and mom were in the kitchen. One left, my dad said. One's all we need, said my mom. What do you think? Do you think we should do it? I think so, my dad answered. I think it's time. Okay, my mom said, I'll call tomorrow. One's all we need. I slammed the door behind me so they would know that I was there. If they were talking about getting rid of me so they'd only have one kid, the easy one, I wanted them to S-T-O-P, stop. Not that I was worried. They probably weren't even talking about me anyways. Shh, my dad said. She's home. Okay, fine. I was worried. That's the end of chapter 7. We are going to stop right there for today. We have lots of people mowing the lawn, being kind of loud in the back, but we will read more tomorrow, so you can hop on and hopefully we'll have another video posted to read chapter 8 and more.